Well, hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to Grizzly Bear Sims YouTube channel, and welcome back to Cattle and Crops. We are here for yet another mission, and let's go ahead and get started on that mission. It's faster growth equals better business. So let's go ahead and get started on this. We're going to be doing some spraying. Now, of course, I've already done this mission once in my other profile, so we're going to now do the mission for the second time, or for my second time in this profile here for you. Now, I do want to just say for the record that it appears that all of my controls that I had set up for the previous mission, which obviously was related to the front end, the bucket front loader and stuff, all of those controls got wiped out. I'm only talking about 3 controls, obviously. Just slot 7, 8, and 9 was what I had mapped my joystick to, and those, like I said, did get wiped out. So I had to reset them, and not sure why it happened, but none of my other control settings were blanked out, so it must be something maybe either to do with the mission or something like that. I don't know, but anyway, that is the case. And then also, if you look around, it looks like we've had a little bit of rain. Now, I was sort of excited about seeing the puddles out in the fields and everything, and hoping that that might have an impact on the mission that we are about to accomplish, but it does not seem to be the case, and you'll sort of see once we get over. Well, we've first got to pick up the sprayer, and then we've got to go back over to the farm and go to field number 3. That is the field that we will be spraying. And well, I will just explain everything once we get over there to the field. I'm a little disappointed in kind of what I'm seeing with the spraying mission, only simply because I think that there are some characteristics within Farm Sim 17, within the Giants version, obviously, that is far better. But again, I will say this, as I have said, I think maybe each episode, and I should probably remind myself if I have not said it, this is early access. There are bugs. There will be possibly even more bugs discovered as things go by. And it's possible that it's just not built into the system yet. Keep in mind also that we only have one crop type to play with, and that is corn. Okay, so we need to drive to the fertilizer tank now, which is right down here. So we'll just pull in here like this, and we need to get a little bit of fertilizer. So Control key, select our field type of KN4000. Not real sure what KN4000 is, but I'm assuming that it's 4,000 liters of something or another. And there we go. So we've got that. We'll just do a little U-turn here instead of going around the building. And there we go. I wanted to look and see if the turning radius on this thing, if it clips into the cab of the tractor. No, not too bad, I suppose. All right, so let's head on over to field number 3. Let me get my camera there centralized and centered with where I can see what in the world I'm doing. And we will just go ahead and drive on over to field number 3. I think what I will do is just to kind of limit the amount of time that it's going to take to get over to field number 3, because we are talking probably another 2 or 3 minutes. I'm going to just do an edit here, and I'll see you once we get close to field number 3. Alright, so bringing you back here, we are approaching field number 3. It is just right up here, as you can see the yellow arrow right over there. So what we're going to do is we now need to fertilize field number 3. So we're going to go ahead and unfold our sprayer and watch the booms come on out there. Now I checked, it looks like it's going to lower automatically. I did not see that there was any control to raise or lower. Now this is interesting because on this mission it does look like we see wet fields. I did not see that on the mission that I did on my other profile, And so assuming that it's possibly just a graphical glitch or whatever, I did see the other wet fields, but it wasn't wet on the field that we were actually going to do. Now, but it really doesn't matter because we'll see if it actually behaves the same way as it did before. Now we're going to ease into the field. And the one thing that I'm going to talk about here that is a little bit different with regards to Farm Sim or Giants Farm Sim 17 is the fact is you cannot tell where you have fertilized before. So in other words, in Farm Sim 17, it kind of darkens the sort of darkens the texture, the ground texture, where you can kind of see where you have fertilized. Now, I suppose in spreading granular fertilizer, powder fertilizer, or dry fertilizer, however you want to refer to that, obviously that would not make a huge impact to the color of the soil in real life, although in Farm Sim 17 it does, regardless of whether you're spraying dry fertilizer or liquid fertilizer. It does show you that texture change on the field. Now, obviously, a liquid fertilizer like this, I think, in real world, obviously, if you spray any sort of liquid onto a dry field, it is going to have a visible color change to the texture, to the look of the soil. And so this is not doing that. But of course, also, again, when I sprayed this field just a few minutes ago, really just before I set up this or turned on this profile, I had sprayed this field on my other profile, and the soil color was about the color of the road. That was about the color of it. So again, I'm sort of guessing it was a graphical thing, graphical glitch or whatever. So we're going to go ahead and ease into our field here. And looks like we are making tram lines, but the tram lines kind of appear to grow back as we sort of progress down the field. So a little odd there. But maybe they'll put something into the texture where you can kind of see a little bit better where you have been, what you have done, etc. I'm going to pause here and grab a screenshot for the thumbnail, or maybe. All right, back at you. Now, one thing I will say is I do like the texture. Got to be careful here because we will. It's easy to let the tractor get ahead of ourselves here. I do like the texture of the spray that's coming out of the sprayer booms. I kind of like that more than I do Farm Sim 17 or Giants version of this. But like I said before, the color texture of the soil, it's going to kind of make it a little bit hard to determine where you've been. And even though there appears, and I'm just going to drive through this shrub here again. I'm just kind of doing this to kind of show you the features and everything, the missions, and not so much on the realism side of things. But it does look like there are some tram lines that go through the crop, but they don't appear to be uniform. They don't appear to be basically all going through at the same spot. And again, the tram lines that sort of get created as we drive really fast here, and my apologies for that, do appear to sort of grow back. So again, I'm just going to chalk this up to the fact that it's early access, and things are gonna be changing as time goes by, and hopefully as we get more crops to play around with, we'll have the opportunities to also see additional changes as they get other features and everything added into the simulation game. See, here we go. We're looking like we're cutting down 2 tram lines, which would be cool, but then all of a sudden they kind of grow back again, and so that's a little odd. Now we got 2 again. Of course, I don't know. I'm not a real life farmer. I know I say that quite a bit, but I do really mean it because I'm not a real life farmer. But I don't know. Somebody correct me that maybe we wouldn't be spraying, at least with a sprayer like this, when the corn was at this particular height. Again, I don't know. I do know that obviously they do spray crops and everything once the crops are visible. But again, I'm sort of thinking that, well, the corn is already at a height that the sprayer boom would need to be way higher than this. Plus, we would probably be using some crop row tires on our tractor and maybe even on the spraying apparatus. But, early access, we'll just call it at that. And we're driving too fast again. It's very easy to let our speed get ahead of ourselves here, and I talked about that earlier, that at least with Giants Farm Sim 17, that basically the apparatus, whatever you're pulling, that more or less dictates the speed at which the tractor will operate, and that's a good thing because that kind of keeps you from getting too far ahead of things. So we're going to now need to drive back to the vehicle trader, and just kind of, I'm really curious as to why why I was seeing a different texture. Again, I was seeing the water in all the fields with the exception of field number 3. Once I got to field number 3 was as dry as it could be, and I even, I made note of the fact that, well, how am I going to see, especially once I started spraying, I couldn't see where I had already been. And so maybe that is just something that they will put in there into the game as time goes by. Fingers crossed. There's still plenty of time for them to, obviously make additional enhancements and what have you. I have been reading even more on the forums, and it looks like the Steam version of the early access, some are saying could be sometime in late January or very early February. And the speculation is that they are looking at what this version of the early access, so 01.01, is, how it's performing, maybe try to further optimize a few things, further tweak a few things, maybe fix a few things, and then have that available on Steam, versus, if they know that there's some opportunities, don't put that out there on Steam, because obviously I think that there's a potential, I could be wrong, but I think that there's a potential that once the game goes on Steam, even though it will still be an early access release version, that they would be picking up some more customers, perhaps, especially if the price and everything is right. So don't know anything about pricing details. None of that has been put out on the forums. I do know that for those of us that have bought into the tech demo, the crowdfunding side of things, that we're going to be able to link our game to Steam. So I'm guessing that maybe that's how we'll get future updates. I don't know. That's fine with me, because I would just as soon have all my games like this in Steam. That way everything is right there, and it's a lot easier to manage screenshots because the Steam, they auto upload to the Steam cloud, and it's easier for me to get to them whenever I get ready to do my thumbnails. And also updates and everything are obviously better managed that way. All right, so we need to detach our sprayer, and there we go. So we have completed our 6th mission. Faster growth, better business. Okay, well, we're going to say okay. We're going to say not now. Looks like our next mission is called They're Hungry. We've already had a similar They're Hungry mission, so we will see if there is a difference or not as we kind of jog sideways across the parking lot. So we'll go ahead and say not now, and that way we can stop our little guy from from jogging. And yeah, you're always looking at the backside of the little guy, by the way. Farmer Klein had made a comment on one of the videos that he would like to be able to not look at his backside if possible. So that might be future functionality where we can see actually what we look like, unless that's too scary for us. And then the other saw a comment earlier on one of my videos, I think maybe the one, maybe episode 4, and the question was whether or not that they would come out with a female character. And I certainly hope that they do that, because I applaud Giants for adding a female character into Farm Sim 17, because let's face it, it's not just a guy's hobby or profession even. And certainly from a virtual gaming perspective, it's not just guys that enjoy a farm simulator. So anyway, thank you all so much for watching. I do appreciate you tuning into these mission videos, and my apologies for the length of this one. A little bit long for all that we had to do, but then again, we had to drive so far. And so we will get right back with our missions, mission number 7. I hope you're enjoying these. I'm trying to put out and give you about 4 a week. That is 2 on Tuesday, so a 2 for Tuesday, and then 1 on Saturday and 1 on Sunday. And I'm going to try to maintain, oh, there we looked around, we can kind of see what we look like. I'm going to try to maintain 4 of these a week just to get us through until the 12, and then I'll figure out what we're going to do. But we'll probably just drop down to maybe 1 cattle and crops episode as we kind of do some farming and stuff, if we can figure those things out once we get to that point, and continue to push out farm sim stuff, because obviously that game is stable, and that's probably the least amount of headaches and everything is with the Giants version. So thank you for watching again, and looks like we got something on our shoulder there that we just brushed off. So I will speak to you all at the very next episode. Take care. Bye-bye.